All right, so we are going live. We'll give some time for folks to join in. We will start at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good weather at. Okay. We are exactly at 4 o'clock. We'll probably give it some time. Yeah, I can see a few folks joining in. We have about 4 people who have joined in so far. Hey everyone, give us some time. We will probably start by 4:03. Many of you have signed up for the session today, so we want to make sure that everybody is joining in before we start. Folks who are online, could you confirm to us if you are able to clearly hear us? Okay, I see Swati saying yes. All right, let's give it a few minutes before we get started. In the interim, people can also watch this session at our YouTube. Here is the link for that. Right, I see 8 folks have joined up so far. We'll give it another couple of minutes. Folks who are joining us, thank you on a Friday evening for joining us for this session. Would love to hear your names, your introductions, what do you do, any questions you may have, what do you expect as part of this conversation today, so that we can make sure that we address those questions today. We will wait for another couple of minutes before we join. I already see about 12 folks joining in. Hey, Chirag. All right, as I think we are at 4:03, so at least what I would think is we can at least start with the introductions. Thank you everyone for joining us today for this session, and super happy to bring this webinar, which is this month's webinar, and super happy to collaborate with Amoeboids, which is a company which is working with tools like Atlassian's various tools help with, on top of that, for a variety of product execution requirements, whether it is release management, documentation, getting better at building your products. All right. Today, I have two fantastic speakers. Many of you who are regular visit our webinars would. Sagar is no unfamiliar face there. You would have seen him in a lot of earlier sessions as well. Yeah, and Sujeet from the Amoeboids team joins us today. So Sujeet is a senior product manager, and he has been working on some amazing SaaS products, and especially in HR-tech and productivity space. And now I think this is one area, right, where AI has kind of transformed the way we as product managers operate. And that is like the core theme today, that how are we going to leverage AI in our day-to-day life, specifically, in terms of our product execution. Because I think the new metric, which has kind of grown multiple x's velocity, right? So how is a PM going to play a role over there? That is like the core topic that we have today. And supported, we are also have Sagar. Sagar is a product manager with Elucian, which is a product in the education space. And Sagar has again multiple years of experience as a product manager, and before that he was also a business analyst, so somebody who comes with 14 plus years of experience in that. So I am looking at some really amazing conversation between Sujeet and Sagar. So thank you guys for taking the time out, and thank you folks. I see that folks are kind of constantly trickling in, so I think without any ado we can get started. So Sagar, over to you.
Thank you, Malti. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate and this platform that you provided so that we can have these wonderful discussions, right? And thank you, Sujit. Looking forward for a wonderful conversation today. To start with, as Malti mentioned about, we'll be focusing and talking about how AI is helping us product managers and how are we building products with AI. So maybe the first question, or the first thought that I get is, what are we what does this whole picture look like? Are product managers using AI, empowering them themselves? Is that the case? Or are we building products with AI? That's the case. Or are we doing both of the things? And what are the things that we're doing? What should we know as a PM, that how AI can leverage, or how we can leverage AI? Sujit, passing on this to you, and we can then start the conversation.
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, thank you, Malti, for that wonderful introduction and for this opportunity. Thank you, Sagar, for having me here today with you. About your question, yeah, that's a great question to have. I feel that everybody is looking at AI because it's a big thing in the market, and you know, tech industry has seen a lot of waves of major disruptions, and I think AI is going to be probably most disruptive trend in the next decade or so. We are already seeing the consequences. So, like you mentioned, product managers are both beneficiaries as well as builders of AI, I believe. Uh, at one hand, they are using AI to, you know, enhance their own productivity in their day-to-day operations. And on the other hand, they are looking at building their products or their features on top of AI. And of course, everybody is at different levels. Some are still sitting at fence, looking at things. Some are actually doing things. It also depends on how your organization policies are. But even despite of that, even if your organization is not really comfortable with directly integrating AI in your products right away, I have seen examples where PMs have actually built some side projects or participated in hackathon to actually get some hands-on experiences. So it both ways, like I said, as a beneficiary as well as a builders, all over across. I think PMs are mostly participating in this AI wave.
Perfect. So I think everyone is on the race, and
Yes.
you rightly told, right? Organizations do come in this whole thing. Like our organization, we have a policy wherein you cannot use. Okay, I'm a beneficiary. First of all, I'm a beneficiary, right? Like I use AI to empower myself to get my things done quickly, and now our company, we have restrictions that we cannot use all the AI tools that we have. Right, there are some restrictions that you can
Right.
use only n number of tools. So in my conversation today, if you hear more about Copilot or Zoom AI, so then that's like a official approved AI tool that we can use. So we have that guidelines, right? So I think across the PM world, I think there will be many companies who will be allowing you to use some tools. And of course, as Sujit rightly told, I think hackathons and your own personal side project, I think that's where you can discover more about getting or being a builder of AI. That's really good. And now that we're talking about beneficiary and talking about how we use AI, Sujit, how does your day look like? Right, like now that before AI it was completely different. I think we all were on the same page. Now with AI, everyone is eager to know that what's happening. How are you using AI? How are you leveraging AI? Right. So how does your day look like?
Well, as far as we are concerned at Amoeboids, definitely we have a bit more liberal policy with regards to use of AI. So, at least for me, there is no such restriction on which tools to use and which not to. In fact, we are being encouraged to try as much as possible. We being in productivity space, again, it is imperative for us to look at into that point of view as well. So, means for our own products, because we are in productivity space, we are both like we are building those products at the same time we are using our own products in our day-to-day lives. So from that point of view, of course, AI has touched upon almost every aspect of my day-to-day work so far. So right from our day-to-day mundane tasks like collecting data, summarizing data, or writing specs, and then polishing the language and all those stuff. That is pretty basic and day-to-day tasks. On top of that, there are many things like backlog management, market research. A lot of tools are there, like Perplexity is there. So my entire search has changed online. So I rarely use Google search these days because of tools like Perplexity. So just to give you some example from my own products, we have a product called automated release notes and reports for Jira. So like I said, we have built this product for the product managers and project managers like us. So I myself is using this for my own internal work. So just to give you an example, like release notes, earlier we used to write release notes ourselves and then automate the distribution of those release notes using our tool. And then later on, we built an AI copilot into it so that it can directly read my Jira tickets and come up with the draft of release notes on its own. So I can directly review it and then publish my document. Same goes with reports. We used to generate automated reports using our application from different Jira tickets. Now with AI integration into it, we can generate quick summaries of those reports. So those executives who don't have really time to go through 10-page report, they can quickly see the summary and then get a gist of what the things are going on a day-to-day basis. So this is how different teams are using AI on day-to-day basis. As a product manager, I'm using it like I said, through our own apps as well as the other tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and other stuff too for you know enhancing my day-to-day work.
That's so good to know, Sujit. I think a lot of hours that we put every day, I think, is reduced to few hours, right? We can focus more on strategy and the product management work than on the mundane work. I think I have a similar picture here from my side as well. But one thing that I would like to add is organizations do have these restrictions, and why do they have these restrictions? It's basically because uh, the model trains itself, right? So it's not that you need to share, you want to share all your company information to these models, right? And we don't know how is it going to use, and that is a major reason I believe that we have that hey, you cannot use all, You can use few with a particular restrictions and things like that. So in my work, basically, I think Jira, I think every all the product managers, they use Jira, right? And Jira has AI. It's like, you just write something, it will convert a query, and it will give you everything. So you need not remember that JQL and all of those things. That's made a life a lot easy, right? You want to build quick structures, you can quickly do that. Copilot and chat gpt, requirements. So now we have a lot of requirements, high level requirements. Okay, let me give you a scenario, right? So we use the Zoom AI. We talk to the stakeholders. Zoom AI records it. You get that recording or the transcript, you put it into Copilot. It gives you a themes of requirements, right? At least a high level theme. So you need not focus on writing notes, you just focus on listening, talking, understanding, and then AI completely helps you with that. And even Box AI, I don't know if people are using Box AI. So if your organization is using Box and you have a lot of documents, you need not even open the document, you just click on it, it'll summarize you what this document is, right? So that's made our lives a lot easy. That's basically some of the tools that we use, right? And of course, it's like, you have many assistants with you. You just tell what you want and they get it done for you. So this is kind of interesting, right? And one very important thing in the whole product management life cycle is road mapping, right? And prioritization.
Right.
So that's a very big focus point. And like, Sujit, how does, like, what is that AI can help there, right? Are you like with beneficiary and the builder focus? How can we know what is that AI can do with respect to road mapping and prioritization? How is it helping you?
Well, I would say I'm the beneficiary at the moment as regards to road mapping and other planning stuff in our products. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm treating my AI as my co-researcher. So there are always, there are many theories in the market that AI will replace product managers one day or all those stuff. But at least for now, I don't believe in those theories because no matter what intelligence that AI has built so far, it still lacks some human traits like empathy and human judgment. So what I'm trying to do is I'm using AI tools as co-researcher tools for me. I'm putting in a lot of context about my products into it. Our existing backlog can be fed to it and find out the patterns. Existing feature requests that you have from your customers that can also be fed into, and it can then come up with some themes. Like there is a lot of talk of outcome-based roadmaps these days. So it can help you to find out those underlying themes within your data and then come up with some ideas around it. You get the clues and then you can then, it's like building a basic mind map of things and then start building upon individual nodes of that mind map. And then you can, slowly train it to think from certain perspective. While it is doing that, you can give some, inputs like what are the areas where your organization has set their goals for, what are the external factors that are currently going on. For example, in our case, we work in Atlassian ecosystem. So though we are an independent app vendor in Atlassian marketplace, but we can see there are some trends going on in the marketplace, what other apps are doing or what Atlassian is doing and how the things are shaping up even outside the Atlassian ecosystem. If you give enough context to AI, you will get more profound output out of it. But if you only give some basic input to it, then it will only give you the superficial output. That's what how I discovered over the period of last few months when we have started using AI. Like I mentioned earlier as well, online search tool like Perplexity is quite good when it comes to market research or competitor research. It can search online at the same time with its inbuilt intelligence. It can come up with a lot of ready to use reports for you. So, you don't have to spend days on gathering data from Google search, going through different websites and then collate everything together and come up with those long reports. It can basically give you ready-made comparative tables or charts based on the data that is available on the net, and as well as it can add up its own intelligence into it. Plus, if you go on giving it more context of your surroundings, like what the external factors are, what the internal factors are, what are the limitations that you have internally, like number of resources that you can spend on a particular feature or something like that, it can then tailor-made your roadmap for you, considering all those factors. So I think there are many creative ways in which you can use AI for your day-to-day all sort of tasks. It's only depends on how you leverage that, how much context you provide to the AI. Prompt engineering does come into play a lot of times. There are always talks in the market, like with every new version of AI models, prompt engineering might not be needed in the long run. The AI is getting a lot smarter to understand it on itself. But at least for now, what I've seen for last maybe a year or so, every time people talk about prompt engineering not needed anymore, but it is still quite significant and effective. So I think that's how one should look at it and see how many creative ways you can use it. There is no dearth of ideas when it comes to creative use of AI in your day-to-day work.
Absolutely, Sujit. I love the last one, right? Creative ways, because that's majorly the gist of everything. You need to be creative, how creative you can give the prompt, and accordingly you'll get the answer, right? And here, from a different perspective, right? So now you have researching and everything done, but from maybe some organizations, they are having a lot of features already, or they know what they want to build for maybe a year or two. They have a list of features. So now how can I be a beneficiary, right? When I have a list of features, maybe some research is already done, discovery is already done. It's just that I need to plan it accordingly, do a prioritization and all of that. In such cases, the majority help is like, you have a lot of requirements and maybe you have some details or some hidden information somewhere, right, where you want to have a bit of market research. That's where Copilot or Chat GPT, simple, not even perplexity, but it's just a GPT or maybe Copilot will help. Put in your requirements, give more details, little bit of research, and that's where it will structure all your requirements. Like, I don't know if every organization follows it, right? Like, they'll have initiatives, under that you'll have epic, and then come the user stories. So this mundane work of managing all of these things is completely managed by or handled by you know uh, the AI tool that you're using. So that's where I think, when feature factory, or you have a lot of features, you just need to someone to help you out with structuring the data, structuring the requirements well. I think that's where the tool helps, and that's where the creativity also comes into picture. And one thing I would like
Right.
to say is, as you rightly told, Sujit, product manager role is going away, AI is taking up, and so on and so forth, right? But I feel that we are the ones who will be able to leverage this at the maximum. Why? Because we know what we want exactly, what the product needs to do, right? We have the business understanding, we know a bit of technicality also. And if we use our creativity, give that exact prompts or what we want from the AI, I think that's where majority of the work will be done. I think until having your Figma screens, and until you have at least a POC or a MVP kind of thing, you can reach till there, right? So I think it's a majority. I don't think product manager role is going to go away, because or anyone who has this instincts, right? Like, you understand business, you want something to be done, and you have the creativity to ask and get things done. I think that's where AI will be able to help you out. So I think this role is going to be there. But yeah, moving ahead, and I spoke a bit about Figma, and I know there is a lot of discussion about prototyping, idea validation, right? Like, you give a prompt, something comes up, a screen, and all of those things. There's so many discussions happening. I will not spend more time, but Sujit, I want to know your take on that, right? Especially on the prototyping and idea validation.
I think for us at Amoeboids, it has been game changer. That's the one word answer to your query. I will not stress this much. Like you mentioned, it's already discussed widely these days. But uh, we have a product. It's an old product. We have been in there in the Atlassian Marketplace for a decade and more. And we have been thinking of some UI revamp of this complex product. And Earlier, we used to work in Balsamic, creating those low fidelity wireframes, then work with the designers to create more, good looking wireframes, and then go developers to come up with the first prototype and then go on to develop an actual screens. Now with the tool like Lovable, it all has compressed into a few prompts basically. So what all we are doing is we are giving it the context of what our product does, and then we give the input of, let's say, some screenshots of existing screens of the product. Then give it some context about the brand guidelines, the design guidelines that we need to follow, and then that's it. It will come up with a completely revamped UI. In fact, a working prototype, not just the plain screens or low fidelity wireframes, but entire working prototype it will come up with. And I think, just to summarize, like the work that we used to do with the designer's help for, let's say, a month has got compressed into, let's say, a couple of days as far as designing is concerned. And that's how that obviously has catapulted the development cycle as well, because it's not just giving us the design, but it's also giving us the basic code of that design, which can be reused to a certain extent within your application. Of course, it cannot be just copy and pasted into your application, the code, but of course, the developer can get the clues out of it and then come up with the similar design. So I think that's how we are using the tools like Lovable. There are many other tools like Lovable in the market. And I think, yeah, prototyping, idea validation, it's definitely a game changer as far as tools like AI tools are concerned.
I agree to that, Sujit. I think yeah, I haven't personally explored Lovable. I think this is the right time for me to do some exploration there. And
In
I think
fact, if you
Mhm.
just one thing, if you it's the best tool to start with your side projects. I think it's just you just need an idea and it can build upon you. Means I have tried my hand on few ideas, and the moment you get the output of your idea in front of you, you start thinking more into that direction. So it's really help you to visualize your idea. So it's a great tool.
that's really good to know. And we in the initial discussion you spoke about empathy, right? So let's try to dig more there. Let's try to understand, like, how is AI going to help us as a beneficiary or as a builder, right? How is AI helping in user empathy or user feedback? Because user or the customer is the heart of the whole PM world, right? Because we're doing everything for them, we're trying to solve a problem for them. And is AI helping in that front? My take would be that I think this is something where human is still needed, right? Human touch is still needed, because what we can do is I in fact I had some surveys with customers, and we got that data, put it into Copilot, try to refine it more, understand what the problem is, right? It's all high level and generic, but it doesn't exactly tell you what a human feels, what the human need is, right? So that's my take on that. But again, Sujit, I would love to hear from you. What do you think about user feedback and empathy using AI?
Um, I think I'm on the same page as yours on this topic. Absolutely, means there are two ways to look at it. The first one is when it comes to user feedback or customer success management, uh, there are tons of data that gets generated every day through your customer tickets, customer interactions, user interviews, or you have, let's say, inbuilt chat support in your application. There are a lot of conversations that gets generated there. There are emails, all whatnot. So AI can help you to, gather data from all these sources together and come up with an open uh, a generic summary out of it or a report out of it, so that you get a clear picture of what things are happening across different channels. That's one way to use AI for. Second one is when you respond to your customers on different channels, you need a degree of empathy, like you mentioned. You need a certain language to be used, which in a long run builds the identity or of your product or of your organization in the minds of your customers. So AI can help you in doing that on a consistent basis. So whether you are doing it from mobile or from your desktop, you can always use AI to refine your responses, which are tailor made to the queries and the customers who are asking for it. uh, then you have lots of internal reports and analysis that are going on, like how many tickets were generated, what are the statuses out of it, what really happened in the customer success in last 1 month or so, or what are the quarterly statuses, how many bugs were escalated, and whatnot. Even AI can help you to come up with these automated reports out of the data that is there in your Jira tickets, your support management software, and all those stuff. Again, AI is pretty good into doing that stuff. But like you mentioned, when it comes to actual interactions with your customers, uh, you need a human touch. You can't be automate that thing. Of course, it differs from industry to industry. Maybe for B2C it's different than B2B, because in B2C you may have a lot of volume of customer interactions, and maybe you want to automate certain obvious things. Like for example, if you are a bank and you get, let's say, tons of requests around I know similar things which are quite simple, then you can maybe automate those responses using AI. But when it comes to some very niche and particular request, you definitely need a human to handle those type of things. B2B, of course, more than often you need a human touch to have responded to the enterprise customers when they are coming up with ideas or they are reporting some bugs. At Amoeboids, we have maintained that any customer query that comes in is always dealt proactively by a human. So we generally refrain from automating it. Uh, Again, there are two, three ways to think to look at it. Like it always helps for any customer who is reaching out to any organization or any product. If a human is responding to them, there is always a better sense of security in the minds of your customers. There is always a human judgment that is involved when you interact with your customers, your end users. You can sense, even if you are not in front of them discussing things, even with the language that you have used, you can sense, like, if that customer, what the situation of that user might be when they are typing up this query. You can try to be in their shoes and then respond accordingly. So you can sense, like, when the customer is irritated. You need, even if it's a very basic task and the customer should be able to figure it out on their own. But if you know back of your mind that this customer has struggled repeatedly, there have been few more queries around similar things in the past, you may want to get on a call and explain them, even if it is a very easy thing to do. uh, so these are human judgment aspects are there, which sometimes an AI or even a chatbot may not able to grasp, and it will give go on giving those uh, same responses again and again. So I think, like I mentioned, there are two ways to look at it when it comes to user feedback, user communication. You can automate certain part of it, but you should always have a human touch as much as possible,
Absolutely, I think.
because at the end of the day, your users or your customers are not numbers. There is a human sitting out of at the other end, and it should be dealt that way.
I agree 100% to this. But I think this is where our builders have an opportunity, right? Because we as beneficiary, I don't think we get much out of it. But if you're a builder, like there's a scenario wherein, like, especially in the pre-sales world, so you do something, you just Google something, like, a brand, and automatically that brand knows that you have Googled, you get somewhere, some connection has happened, and then you see those ads, so they move, they kind of motivate you to go there. You hit, and then it has, goes into WhatsApp, and then you have your WhatsApp communication and everything happening, right? And even voice agents, they help you do some activities so that you need not do anything. So I think that's where people are dealing with humans, but I don't think that flow also, like, if you don't take an action, maybe it will keep on reminding you every 2 days, 3 days. A person could get irritated, right? So I think builders, yes, it's an opportunity, but how can we actually, maybe agentic AI would come into picture and so on and so forth. But that's something that we can, that's a blank space, I think, where humans still need to be there as for the empathy, right? And now when we're talking about building AI, like more of builders, right? Let's move our focus towards builders. So when we are building AI products, right, it could be either you already have a feature and you're adding AI to it, or you're already building a AI first, feature. What's your take there, right? Like, what happens there? And can you give some insights on how that is managed? We spoke about beneficiary, now we're turning the cap towards builder, and now product manager building AI feature, or AI first feature, or enabling or adding that, bits of AI into the product. How does that look?
I think there are, again, means I always joke about this. Like, if you notice these days in the market, every product is AI powered product, irrespective of whether they actually has AI or not. That's the other thing. But yeah, means if you are just starting it up, there are two ways to look at it. AI can help you to enhance your existing features. So maybe that's the starting point for most of the products, where you are looking at your existing set of features and see where you can use AI to, you know, use enhance its usability, its capabilities to multifold percentages. So that's starting point for most of the people who are starting up with AI into their products. And the next stage is AI first feature, where AI is actually at the driver's seat. In the first thing, where you are using AI as enabler for your existing features, still means AI is getting those features one step ahead, but still it is being initiated by a human. So just to give you an example, in our own product, one of our product is in HR-tech space, where you can build performance review forms for your employees. So we built a small feature where you have a performance appraisal form of an employee, where employee has added their own self-appraisal inputs, and then the manager has added their own inputs for that employee. Now we just added a summarizer there. So AI just read through all the responses and also look at other data around that employee in the Jira, like what are the tickets that a employee has worked upon in last quarter, then other feedback that they have received. And based on that, it comes up with a summary for that particular employee in the last appraisal cycle. So that's simple, one step up from the existing feature. We already had that appraisal form feature, and now we just added a quick summary generator using AI, which gives an executive a quick summary of what has all happened in the appraisal of this employee, and if anything that needs to be taken, any actions needs to be taken in that regard. So that's like AI as an enabler into your existing feature. And the second stage would be like AI first feature, where means like I mentioned in the first feature where we talked about, AI is there, but still a human needs to uh, initiate its usage. In the second stage, you may want to look at AI first feature, where AI can initiate certain tasks on its own and come up with the output, even without any human initiation. And that's where people would start looking at once they're comfortable with the first stage, where they are looking at enhancing their own features. So just again, on the same example, if you notice, and that I just given for, let's say, appraisal form in the HR product, Let's say appraisal cycle has closed and HR now wants a summary of what all have happened. So AI can has its own engine which can sense like, okay, the cycle has completed, everyone has completed their forms. It can then look through all the data and come up with a nice presentation for the HR and send it to the HR on the email, and HR can readily use it in their day-to-day, whatever review meetings that day-to-day happen. It can go into that appraisal forms for all employees and come up with what all training requirement that have been identified by the reviewers across the different teams, and come up with suggested courses for different types of employees that they can undertake for the next cycle of appraisal. So this type of task that AI can initiate on its own, looking at the data that you have in the product. Again, these are just few examples, but there is, like I mentioned in one of my earlier responses, there are immense potential.
Hmm.
It all depends on how creatively you use this in your products.
Exactly, Sujit. So I just spoke about these features, right? I was just trying to understand that how do we know that this is a success, right? Like this is a done, or definition of done is ticked marked, right? So how do we, like, we have either we enable AI or we use AI for features, like what is that you're following to understand that okay, this is what was intended and now I say that this is success?
That's a tricky question, I would say. Means even having spent almost 7 8 years in product management, I don't, I won't say that I know exactly when it is done, because things are always dynamic and continuously changing. So it's never done for me. So the best way to approach this is would be, start small, lean approach. Whatever idea you might have, it can look very good idea on the face of it, but even if it is like that, never try to implement everything at once. So drill down to a very smallest minimum viable uh, version of it, build it as quickly as possible, ship it as quickly as possible, let the users use it, uh, then ask for the feedback. Based on their feedback, then you can decide what next steps you need to take. You will automatically get whether people are using it or not. If they are not using, you know that it's not something that clicking with the people. So you would save on your efforts on building everything right at the start. But if it is clicking with the people, you can get a quick feedback and decide which path it should take now. So you can see like there are 3 4 ideas where you can build it further, but out of those, these two are being requested quite frequently. So you can prioritize them, start building on them. Again, same approach as that level as well. Build a small version of it, ship it, get the people use it, and then sense what they are saying, and then keep on building. Over the period, it will build a good amount of intelligence into it. So I think that's the way to look at it. It's not just limited to AI enabled or AI powered features, but any aspect of product management. I think that's the best way to do it. Iterative approach, start small and keep on building.
Perfect. I think so that kind of summarizes the whole builder world. We have a question from Shruti. I'll put it on the stream, right? And this is basically like more on our lovable UI wizard, right? Generate good prototypes. Curious to know how can we use them for organization products, right? Let me bring it up again. Since there would be privacy and security challenges. Any thoughts on this, Sujit?
I think yeah, that's always been will be there. It all depends on what your organization policies are there. It differs from industry to industry. Maybe some industries like BFSI, where there is a lot of regulation based constraints, data security concerns. You might not be able to use it out of box. There can be some enterprise tools for this. I'm not yet aware of, at least for prototyping is concerned. But I know that few industries, like again I mentioned about BFSI, there are many enterprise grade organization who are using some AI into some controlled environment with some guardrails in place, like Azure and all the stuff. So you have to look at it from your industry's point of view, and there is no one answer to fit here.
I agree to that, Sujit. Right? Like, see, for us, we deal a lot with education domain, uh, with respect to the North America region and EU and all of those things. So even we might not be able to use this right upfront, right? So even when we're using Copilot, we have restrictions. And when we're using GPT, we also have restrictions. Like we cannot give in our IP details. We cannot give our product details. So I think that's which is going to be there across. It's just that you, as Sujit already told, there might be some enterprise products that which we can use, or maybe Lovable and UI Wizard will grow as an enterprise product, and then we can start using it. Or you can be a builder and build your own, right? So that's the opportunity that we have here. And friends, I think we're open for questions. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. We will take few questions before we kind of talk about what are our best picks of AI, right? Like what is our go-to AI tool that we use always. One thing that I was thinking is about the risk, right? Like with AI, potentially we might have a risk also. And when we are building the features, AI features, right? What kind of risk are we, thinking of? Sujit, any thoughts out there? Because you have been building AI features, right? So do you see any risk there?
Uh, I'm not sure. Means one is, of course, the data security concerns are there. So even in our case, even though most of our many of our customers who are enterprise customers, they come up with those concerns when we are, have AI built-in features in our apps. So you have to have a provision where if you are building AI-enabled features in your product and certain users or customers, I'm of course speaking of B2B space here because you have enterprise customers, enterprise users as your customers. So you have to have a way to disable AI. Maybe if there are organization policy which do not allow out of box AI to be used, then they will be able to disable those features for them or their users. That's one fallback option that you should have. Second one is you may provide an option to integrate their own AI. So in one of our apps, we have allowed users to integrate their own OpenAI account. So those organizations who don't allow using the public OpenAI account, they can use their own secure OpenAI account and integrate that with our products to continue using AI-based features. So that's those guardrails or pathways or fallback option that you will have to build, especially when you are into B2B space. I think that would be one way to look at it.
I was talking on mute, sorry. Absolutely, right? I think that's where our what do you say, ethical AI comes into picture, and more of ethical AI experiences. So I think we as a PM need to make sure that we are being transparent, that AI is being used, and so on and so forth, right? Whatever we can make to convey that this is being used by AI, or this is AI is interacting with you and things like that. Yes, Sujit, you had a point.
One, yeah, one more point here. Whatever you build, whatever features you build based on AI, there's always going to be a system prompt in the background. And I think you should have always think of enough checkpoints into those prompts so that it cannot be abused for certain a very different use than it is intended to do. So because ultimately, if user is generating certain content and then that AI is reading that content and coming up with some output, there can be elements or attempts to abuse that particular feature, giving some false prompts, some false information, and getting some unintended data out of AI. So you have to be cautious enough to build your prompts in such a way that no user can abuse those features for some unintended use.
Absolutely. Now let's try to change the gear, coming back to beneficiaries and moving towards at the end of this session. I think it's been a wonderful discussion and knowing so much and learning so much about AI. One thing is like, if someone is a new PM, okay, or maybe I'm a seasoned PM, I am using AI. I know AI for the first time, right? I think it's already there for a few years now, but I know, okay, there's something called as AI, and I have to start using it. What is your tip, or what would you say? How should they start thinking about this?
I think the first thing everyone has to do is don't think about doomsday scenarios. You would always see those posts on LinkedIn or other social media like, if you don't do this, your job will be lost, or 10 years, product managers won't exist. Just shut up all that noise because nobody actually knows the reality. So at this moment, nobody knows what will happen in 10 years because things are changing every 6 months. So if they are changing so much in 6 months period, how can someone predict about what is happening after 10 years? So just shut off yourself from all that noise. Set small targets for yourself, some short-term and mid-term goals. Try working on those, and as you go along, start analyzing and reprioritizing things. Because as you go along, start using AI for your own personal use, for your products, you will automatically figure out what is working, what is not working, what the things are changing in the market, how you should respond. So you will figure out ultimately. So don't just sit on the fence thinking about doomsday scenarios. Start using it. It's going to be all automatically, you know, uh, enhance your productivity to multifold. There are many things, many recurring mundane tasks that you are doing day in day out. You can use AI to do those recurring tasks and free yourself to do more creative work. Automatically, once you use AI to do away with those day-to-day operational tasks, your mind will be free to do more human-like creative tasks where your decision making, your judgment is needed, empathy is needed. You would definitely automatically your mind space will be empty to think about those aspects of your product management. Then thinking about your products, you know one analogy that I can provide here is that maybe a decade back everyone were using feature phones, and almost decade or so everyone has moved to smartphone. And you all now any smartphone you buy in the market, you expect a certain minimum smartness into it. Now you won't accept a feature phone like you used to use 10 years back. So there is a benchmarking that has happened there. Same way, maybe down the line 10 years, every product would require certain amount of basic smartness built on top of AI. So you should be starting sensing what those basic benchmarks that are going to be there in our part of industry, and I didn't start seeing like how we can take our products towards that basic threshold. So only then you will be able to survive your products down the line. So I think that's the way to look at it on personal level as well, and as well as on as far as your products are concerned.
Perfect, Sujit. I think that's really great, right? So if I have to summarize it from the personal or the beneficiary level, I think you should start making notes of what are your mundane tasks, right? What do you do every day, or what do
Correct.
you do in a week? And then you can see, like, can you map, like, if you're doing some documentation, that can be completely easily done by GPT or Copilot, right? So maybe you have list of your mundane tasks, and then you can accordingly, or you can do some research or use GPT first and start researching that, I'm doing this mundane task, suggest me which is the good API, or whatever good tool, AI tool that I can use. So maybe you can start exploring like that. So now you know that your mundane task can be done by AI, and then as Sujit told, you have more time to do all other things that you should be doing. That's from the beneficiary part. From the builder part, I believe, as Sujit told, I think it's more of you're right, everyone needs a smartphone these days, right? You just say smartphone and they that's the thing. But what is the smartness? I think people are not worried about knowing what that smartness is, right? So similarly, I think everyone is rushing for AI products, but I think, is AI actually giving value to that product? I think that's something that, as in this community of PMs, I think we should focus on understanding, like, what is the actual problem. Like, are the users overwhelmed with something? Are they if they're waiting for something from quite a long time which you're not able to do, can you leverage AI there, right? And can you, if
Right.
something is like, some summarization, some simple things like, summarization is needed, they do a number of activities. What if we summarize using AI, right? That's going to be a value, immediate value that they would get. So maybe as a PM, and if you're trying to add AI into your products, I think this is where you should start with, understanding what are the problems. Are they overwhelmed? Is something that, they're waiting for quite a long time? What is going to give them immediate value, right? If something is like, mundane summarization, classification of things, personalization is very important, emails and all of that, right? If personalized emails can go, automation, it will reduce the development effort quite a long, right, quite a lot of time. So I think this is where we should start focusing on if you are getting AI newly into your products, right? And let's not think about smartphone directly. Let's try to think, is it a problem? Let's add the smartness and then let's go for the smartphone, right? I think that's wonderful, Sujit. I think that's really, the example of smartphone is kind of, stick with me. I'm gonna use it many times now. So now, I think we are almost there on time. We have 6 more minutes, but I would like to, have maybe last one thought, right? Like, what would be your maybe two thoughts, right? One is, what would be your go-to AI tool? What's your that go-to AI tool which helps you every day, right? So people, it could be an enterprise tool, it could be a normal AI tool, but what is that, you know, that helps you a lot every day?
There are two for me. Basically, I already talked about Perplexity. So my online search is basically have already moved from Google to Perplexity almost for all purposes. And there is one Google Chrome extension called Cider, which I generally use for my to help me write, because as a PM you have to write lot many things, whether it's specs or whatnot. So it's a small plugin which sits in your browser. It helps you to quickly summarize things, come up with new ideas, gather thoughts, and main thing is it has built-in ability to switch between models. So I can sometimes use ChatGPT or sometimes use Cloud A or DeepSeek. So you can use different models at one place. You don't have to log in into different like Gemini and ChatGPT, different windows for that. So these are the two go-to tools for me in my day-to-day work.
That's so good to know. I didn't know about Cider. I think that's something that I'll explore. And for me,
Sure.
my keeping all the guardrails and keeping all the we have a particular set of AI tools that we can use, right? Thinking of that, my go-to is Chat GPT and Copilot. That's the maximum that I use, right, for getting summaries or drafting something or things like that. That kind of helps me a lot. Another one is Zoom AI. I'm a big fan of Zoom AI because all the meetings that we do, it's already recorded, it's transcribed, right? And it gives you summary. Like, I join in between the meeting, I just tell that, can you catch me up, and it'll give you whatever was discussed in pointers, right? Or if you say that,
Right.
I want to know what Sujit told me, what is that Sujit is discussing, can you brief me? It gives everything. So this is a lovely tool. Zoom AI, I'm a big fan of it and I use it extensively. And another one is, as a PM we need to do a lot of visualization, because visualization is something which stays, right? So we have a lot of things that we need to communicate to the dev team or to the different stakeholders, right? And what happens is, we might have all the slides with a lot of content, but people will be nodding, right? But we know that they're not understanding, it's just a nod. So visualization helps there. So what we do is we end up creating flowcharts, we end up creating some visualization items, right? And from our past session with Malti, we learned that Napkin AI is one of the wonderful tools. So you just put a summary, you just put a word context, right? You just write maybe 10 pointers, and you just hit visualize. It will visualize it, it will give you a poster, it will give you an infographic, right, of that content. That's the best that I've used. It makes up presentations quite simple, quick. You just put your content, you get a visualization, you can choose a number of visualizations and you can use it. Similarly, one of the enterprise tool is Lucid Chart. So lucid chart has their own AI, lucid AI, right? This is also something which I use a lot. So when we have a lot of discussions, maybe when we want to talk to the dev team and they want to know a flow of what is happening or a sequence diagram, right? So even here, you just put your content, it will create a flow chart for you, it will create a sequence diagram for you, right? And normally what I do is I first go to Copilot, I tell everything, all my requirements, I tell them that, can you give me in a structure that lucid will understand, right? And I take that as an output, I go to lucid, I paste it there, and tada, it has the whole sequence diagram or a flow chart for me, right? And I can tweak it there. So this are my, like, something which has made my life easy, right? Which is something like, I go to tools for me, at least for me. I think we come to an end. And
Interesting to know. I'm going to try both this napkin and lucid
absolutely,
charts. Yeah.
I think you should.
Yeah. And that was like a fantastic conversations, right? I mean, one of the reasons I really wanted, practitioners, especially in the, mid to senior PM level, because the challenges of doing multiple context switching, running multiple tracks at the same time is very inherent, right? I've been there as a senior PM, this thing, so I completely understand, and that's why I could see so much of valuable nuggets, from day to day what you're doing, whether lucid search or how to use chat gpt, how do you mindfully use and I think I love the fact, Sujit, where you said, you are dog fooding your own products, whether it is road mapping, release notes, documentation. I think that's the way to go, because then you really truly understand the pain points of your users, and you are able to improvise because you are using those tools all by yourself.
I think we have that luxury because we are in the productivity space. So we are building products which are required by we only.
Correct, correct, correct. So yeah, but thank you, the guys. This was a very, very wonderful conversations. While I was slightly on the back seat today, but just listening to both of you, adding so much of value, and thanks to a lot of folks who have been there with us for the entire hour. Hope you found value in this. Lot of tools, from lucid charts to napkin to chat gpt, a lot of opera, a lot of conversations here. So thank you again for everybody. Thank you, Sagar, for hosting this. Thank you, Sujit, for sharing a lot of valuable nuggets here. And have a
and
good.
and I would say thank you, Malti, for providing this whole opportunity and the platform. I think this has been great. People who have already been following us, this is great conversations. A lot of conversations. We have a YouTube channel, Spark Prod. I think you should go there, and I think we already have the links in the chat, as well as if you are already part of community, you'll have more details there. So feel free to join in the YouTube channel. We have a community, and there's a Medium page also, wherein Malti shares all the insights. Currently, I think more of solopreneur is going on, but yeah, you have a lot of details being shared there.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you,
And
Sagar.
thank you, Sujit.
So, yeah. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have
Thank
a
you,
good
Malti.
day.
Thank you, Sagar.
Thank you, Sujit.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.